Okay, we're ready now to make rocket corn chips. Rocket chips. When I first came up with the rocket science name, like the same day, I was thinking of rocket chips, and I thought I was going to go into business making raw chips and doing like the junk food of raw food, because I was so into this whole raw food thing and doing all the desserts and chips and all those delicious treats that are actually good for you just was really intriguing to me. So I'm still doing it, but it's funny because I've become super foodist, doing the phytoplankton and doing all the superfoods and herbs and all of the other things, and I actually only indulge in this once in a while, but I love that they're available to us and that you can make really delicious corn chips that are, in my opinion, as good as Tostitos or any other of the conventional really bad for you chips and desserts and snacks. But this is one of my favorite ones. It is corn chips, and we can make nachos with them later with salsa and guacamole, and you can make anything you can have cooked. You can make a raw version of sour cream. Like, it's endless. It's just absolutely incredible. We make pizza, lasagna, burgers, like everything, and it's wonderful. So now, chips. Here we go. This is, you need a dehydrator for this, so make sure you have a dehydrator, and I'm going to use a food processor. So I have here 3 cups of corn. I have 4 cups of sprouted buckwheat. I started off with about 2.5 cups of buckwheat, and it's Monday. I started Saturday evening sprouting this, so it's a day and a half of sprouting. And they have beautiful, nice long tails on them. And they've expanded. I'm going to measure it out to 4 cups, but I'm pretty sure I have almost exactly that amount, maybe even a little bit more. I have 1.25 cups of flax seeds, which I've soaked in 2.5 cups water. So they've really gelled up. They've been soaking for a couple hours since this morning. And lots of spices and salt, coriander, onion powder, turmeric, paprika, chili, cayenne. You can adjust and use whatever spices you like. You can do them just with salt, and they're delicious. Just salted corn chips is wonderful. But this is a variation I really like. So, of course, I'm going to show my favorite for you. So I'm going to put the 3 cups of corn in. Now I happen to have, I'm in the beautiful Rawlicious kitchen, and I happen to have a wonderful industrial food processor, which is bigger than most home processors. So if you're using a normal home size one, you might want to do 2 batches, do half one batch and half another batch. And also I want to mention that the corn that I'm using, I'm kind of cheating on this one a little bit because I usually don't recommend to use frozen corn. It is organic, but the bagged frozen corn is often blanched before it's frozen. And what I usually do is use organic corn that I just cut straight off the cob, and that's the best way to do it. And if you really have it together and you try these corn chips and you love them and you want to make them in the winter when there isn't corn, or spring, then you can just take the corn off the cob and freeze it yourself, and that way you're not going to have blanched and you'll have pure raw chips. So this is a little bit of a way off, but I'm doing the best I can because I really want the corn chips, and they're organic but they're not raw. So, okay, to this I'm going to put everything in because I think it's all going to fit in this processor, although even this is going to be a little close. So I'm going to put all my flax seeds in. Get that out of the way. I'm going to process this a little bit right now, just to blend up the corn a little bit, because I really want to make sure the corn gets really broken up. spatula. Okay. Give or take half a cup, it's not going to really make a difference. There's 1, 2, 3. Oh, I have a lot here. 4. Okay. Oh, I must have sprouted 4 cups of buckwheat, and that's why I have an abundance of it. Okay, I'm just going to use 4 cups of the sprouted buckwheat. It looks like, again, what I did last time is I made a buckwheat granola with the leftover, and it's really good. And you can just throw this in the dehydrator just like this, spread it out in a sheet, and it'll make buckwheaties. And you can put it in your favorite cereal in the morning. Like if you have a granola, just add some buckwheat groats to it, and it's really good for you, and it's delicious. And if you want to just put an apple and some pecans in the processor, so it's another recipe, but just grind up some seasonings, cinnamon, vanilla, dates, just a few things, blend it all up, and then mix it in with it. Spread it in a dehydrator sheet. You're gonna have an amazing tasting buckwheaty cereal to enjoy in the morning, and it's really easy. So just bonus here. Okay, but back to our corn chips. Once you get the hang of this creating with raw foods, it's really easy and it's really fun and creative. It's fun to experiment with different ideas. A tablespoon of salt, a teaspoon of coriander seed, a teaspoon of turmeric. The turmeric is really more for color than for flavor. It gives a really nice yellowy flavor. The corn. A teaspoon of onion powder. Half teaspoon of paprika. Of chili. And of cayenne. And we're going to process again all together. Okay, that should be great. Yeah. It's well blended now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my dehydrator sheet. And spread it out on here. So this is the Teflex sheet. This is the mesh screen, but we definitely need a Teflex sheet. And we'll dehydrate one side, and as soon as it's dry to the touch, we'll flip it over. If you dry it too much, the edges will start curling. So you want to get it in between, like when it's dry enough that you can flip it quite easily, and before the edges start curling, which is going to be 6 to 8 hours, somewhere in that time. But even after 4 or 5, you could probably flip it as long as it's dry to the touch. This is going to give me a couple sheets. I don't want it too thin, because if it's too thin, then they'll just break when you go to scoop up some salsa or guacamole or any kind of dips with them. And we want it definitely to hold together to be able to scoop, but we want it also to be thin enough that it's crispy when you eat it. So it has a nice crunch to it. You don't want it too hard and thick. So there is a nice balance between it. And I will show you here how. So it's not as thin as, slightly thicker than you would make crackers. That's about 2 millimeters thick, about for an inch, quarter of an inch, less than that, just less than a quarter of an inch thick. Definitely don't want to see any spots in it, then it's going to be too thin. There's a little bit of a knack to it, but after you do it once or twice, you get to really know how thick or thin to do it. It's one of those things that it's like anything. It's like, you make, I was going to say pancakes, but raw pancakes or anything. You get used to knowing how thick is the right thickness. So that looks like it was just the perfect amount on here. I'll lift it up a little bit so you can see. I'm just going to make sure it's even first. I'm quite happy with this thickness. And now we're going to score it. So I usually go from corner to corner. If it's not exact, that's fine. From corner to corner. Then I'm going to go in half right through the middle to this end. And same thing on this side. Then I'm going to go from corner to corner in each of the 4 squares. This would be really big nacho chips if you wanted to, but then I usually will go halfway through each of these and cut them into smaller ones. And just score them now, so when you flip it when it's done dehydrating, it'll be easy to snap them apart, and they'll just kind of come apart easily on their own. And that's it. So we're going to put them in the dehydrator now for 6 to 8 hours, and then when they're done, we're going to take another screen like this. I'm not going to go on it because it's not done now. And we're going to flip it over. We're going to peel off the mesh screen here that's on the other side, and then we're going to let it continue dehydrating for another at least 8 hours, 8, 10, 12. You'll know it'll be crispy. You don't want it soggy or wet at all. It has to be dry all the way through at 115 degrees, and better to go a little bit too much than not enough, because the moisture in the air can always let them get a little bit softer rather than drier. So make sure you get them dry enough, and that's it. It's so easy. And they're so delicious. And we're gonna make nachos later. And we're gonna have guacamole and salsa and olives and green onions and banana peppers and yeah, all kinds of stuff. And it's gonna be delicious, and we'll have fun. You can even take the nut loaf patties on your nacho plate if you do, and crumple up the nut loaf patty on top, so it's kind of like the ground beef topping. It's really nice on it too. There's so many things you can do with it. Very fun. Enjoy.